Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about San Francisco and robot arms and when, at least temporarily, for the moment. So we're going to talk about what happened. We're going to talk about what is likely to occur in the future, and we're going to talk about why it happened as we go through a statement from the chief out there. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you missed the earlier coverage. The San Francisco Police Department put forth a policy for approval that allowed them to use armed robots. So, initially, that policy was approved. There was an outcry. The Board of Supervisors, I think that's what it's called out there, reversed course. And they have voted it down. It will not become policy at the moment. Somebody on the board put out a statement that basically said, hey, we live in a time where police are taking out more and more each year. We need to be looking at a way to stop that rather than new tools to do it. It's a good statement. Let's hope they stick to it. So, this is what the chief of police had to say. The use of robots in potentially deadly force situations is a last resort option. We live in a time when unthinkable mass violence is becoming more commonplace. We need the option to be able to save lives in the event we have that type of tragedy in our city. That's good. I mean, I can see that. I could see something like that getting through. The problem is that isn't at all what the policy said. If this is actually the concern and you want to use them in the event of a mass incident, then write a policy that reflects that. The overwhelming outcry came from the fact that the policy was just ridiculously broad. Apprehension of criminals was one of them. That can mean anything. In fact, when I did the first video, the only thing I could think of that didn't fall under what would be covered by that policy was a normal traffic stop. But if somebody in the car had a warrant, well, then they could use it. It was ridiculously broad. What has happened is that over the years, the public have witnessed officers taking out innocents and then walking free. Because in court, they said, well, that's what I was trained to do. That's what the policy says. You can't hold it against me. So now the public wants more restrictive policies. Cause and effect. The department will undoubtedly try to sneak this through again. That they will try to wait until the outcry has faded and try to push it through. The key thing to remember when you're talking about anything like this is to actually read the policy, not the sound bites. This sound bite, that sounds great. And if that's what the policy said, if the policy was just like, hey, we want to be able to use armed robots in the event of a mass incident, there probably wouldn't have been an outcry. But that's not what it said. And that's not how it would be used. There would be mission creep, so to speak. And eventually, you would see it used a lot, and there's a guarantee that it will be misused under the policy that was just rejected. So, while people in San Francisco made their voices heard, they made the right call, and the board rejected this policy, this isn't over. The department will continue to try to push this. As they do, just read the policy and think about the situations that would fall under any new policy they submit and how broad it is. When you're talking about a narrow scope, that's one thing. But when you're talking about something that is just ridiculously broad, that will lead to more people being lost, more innocents being lost, because the thing that even statesmen, policymakers of all kinds face is that it's just so easy to deploy lethal force via a robot. So they do it at times when they don't have all the information, and it leads to really bad outcomes. If San Francisco goes forward with this in any way, it needs to be an incredibly restrictive policy, something for mass incidents only. And even in this soundbite, even in this little quote, there's still an issue, because it says potential lethal force. No, if you're deploying it, lethal force should already be justified. It shouldn't be, well, maybe it would be justified. No, it has to already be deemed justified to take that thing out of the van. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.